On today's show, we think the Mavs have to trade the 10th pick. So what can they get for it? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad, be an everydayer. Subscribe or follow for free. Just search Locked On Mavericks wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Do the Mavericks have to trade the 10th pick? Got a lot of conversation about that yesterday. So I'm curious what you guys think about it. Let us know. If you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us. Loved all the conversations I had yesterday on the lottery. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description below. Text the number in the description to join our subtext. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The trade titan, the one more thinking. What you got for me, Isaac Harris? I almost said something else.
That's probably good.
Yeah. Usually when I self-edit those, it's better.
It's probably good you didn't say that. Yeah, we're a day removed from the draft lottery. Still pretty good. Dallas got the 10th pick, so
still relieved.
Still relieved. Got some listening in today from NBA Big Board pod. With our guys over there, the combine, and all their takeaways and stuff from that. It's a good podcast, and love hearing about just some inside knowledge of what's happening up there in Chicago and stuff. So, man, I'm just like all draft now. You know how I felt like a junkie today listening to draft podcast, because like playoffs is like one thing. It's like, all right, cool, I'll listen to it, but now it's like all the draft and like, let's do this.
And it feels so niche too, because you're like talking about these 18-year-old, 19-year-old guys that have played 1 year college or whatever. And it's like, and there's only certain people that have watched them all year, like Raphael, like Leaf Tulane, like Richard Stamen, Mavs Draft has been on this show. And so go listen to Locked On NBA Big Board, make it your second listen today. It's going to be mine for a while as we try and figure out what to do with this draft. But yeah, today's episode, we're going to talk about some trades. We'll talk about trades for the Mavericks and the 10th pick, because we think that Mavericks have to use this asset to try and cover a couple holes. If they just take one player, I just don't know if that's enough for how good the asset is for the Mavericks. They have this 10th pick. It's their best asset they have. They don't have another asset, not Josh Green, not Jaden Hardy. This 10th pick is their best asset to try and add a couple pieces, and they have to add a couple pieces in this offseason, because you can't go back and miss the playoffs again. I had a good conversation back and forth with a couple of Mavs people today, including Sean Bush and some others, of like, well, but you also want to get younger. Like, you can't just keep kicking the can down the road. I get that. I get that you don't want to keep kicking the can down the road. You want to add some young talent. A couple people on subtext were like, don't you want to get more athletic and younger and like all that? Sure. Yeah, you would love to.
It doesn't matter what you want. Does Luka want to get younger?
You got like talent's going to trump all of that. Talent means more than all that. So however you can add the most talent in your team, you have to make that happen. And I think this is their best shot, is to take this pick and trade it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is what we were talking about yesterday. I mean, I went as far as saying I think it would be kind of mismanagement if they don't look at, doing that. That you got to use this opportunity to add another piece. Like you are multiple pieces away. And we can sit here and talk about all the things that we want or what fans want of, man, it'd be nice to get another young guy to pair with Jaden Hardy and Josh Green, and that'd be a lot of fun. It's a matter of what Luka Doncic wants.
If they had the time.
Yeah. Like, you think Luka's over there getting hyped about, Case and Wallace? Like, he's pumped to come back to training camp for Case and Wallace. Like, what are we doing? Like, so that's the time. It's not about just adding a guy. I think he would be excited. I'm having fun with it. But Luka wants to win, and Luka wants to get back to a conference finals and a finals. And you just standing at 10 and not using that asset to add more flexibility or add another rotation piece that could be playing in a playoff series. That is the part that would be a tough sell. Just saying, hey, we're adding another Josh Green type of player to the rotation.
And I hear some people's complaints like, oh, it's short-sighted to try and add another like win now player instead of drafting for the long term like that. You know what else is short-sighted? Like if they don't make the playoffs next year, then Luka may leave. Right? Like that you have to be short-sighted if that's the case. Thinking long term is okay. How can we keep Luka happy right now? That's thinking long term because that's the best option long term for the Mavericks. If you had one rotation player, the other thing is you go back through some of the 10th picks recently and say, all right, let's say they take a player with the 10th pick. What if this player turns out to be turns out to be some of the who are the last couple of 10th picks? Cam Reddish was one of them. Was a 10th pick recently.
I mean, that won the Hawks the trade.
I mean, that one, you're not feeling good about that. What if
I'm pretty sure Mikal was at 10.
Mikal Bridges, he was a 10th pick, but I'm trying to find the list
because that was the whole Sixers Suns trade and all that stuff. But
anyway, so the recent 10th picks have not been super great. We have Zaire Williams of the Grizzlies was a couple years ago. You have
fine player
Johnny Davis, 10th pick for the Wizards. That one's not looking great. Jalen Smith of the Suns, who ended up with the Pacers this past year, he was like okay. And then Cam Reddish. Those are the last 4 10th picks. Like, okay, not a great track record.
Ballers.
So the players that have played in playoff series, the rookies that have played in playoff series, have played like 20 minutes per game or more in playoff series the last 5 years. Herb Jones was the 35th pick in his draft. Played about like 38 minutes with the Pelicans, which is kind of an outlier. Tyler Hero for Miami, he was a 13th pick, 33 minutes a game for the Heat in that playoff series. Scotty Barnes, he was the 4th pick, played 30. Landry Shamet for the Clippers was the 26th pick. That team didn't have a star player or anything like that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Clippers was the 11th pick. He played as a rookie. Keegan Murray this past year for Sacramento, he was the 4th pick. Michael Porter Jr. was the 14th pick. He played for Denver his rookie year in a playoff series. Trey Murphy III was the 17th pick, and Desmond Bane for Memphis was the 30th pick. These players all played 20 or more minutes per game in a playoff series.
I've heard of that.
In the last 5 years. That's all of them. And so you have to either hit on some of these players, and some of these hits have been some of the best hits of the last forever. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, incredible hit. Herb Jones, 35th pick, incredible hit. Desmond Bane, 30th pick, incredible hit right in the backyard. Some of these have been really, really good hits. Some of them were really high picks, but it's just rare. And so you have to use the asset the best way you can. You either have to hit it like these players or you make a trade. So coming up, let's talk about some of these actual trades. Let's get into some trades. Isaac is chomping at the bit over there. He's just looking at me like, when am I allowed to talk about my trades? We'll talk about some of those.
Unleash me.
Coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about eBay Motors. Just like the Mavericks need the right fit and the right player in either the draft or in a trade, you need the right fit for your car. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure that every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back, because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop at eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home parts when you know they're going to fit guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, the right prices on eBay Motors. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show. Again, subscribe to our subtext if you want to support the show. Click the link in the description below. Appreciate each and every one of you. All right, Isaac, give me some trades. What are some trades the Mavs can do with the 10th pick?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's some bigger names that, that will come into conversation for Dallas. The DeAndre Ayton conversation is just not going anywhere. I mean, nope. Dallas is going to be linked to him heading into the draft. Phoenix is going to be shopping him and Chris Paul. The whole Dallas role players with the 10th pick for DeAndre Ayton. I just feel like that's going to be locked in as some type of, just evergreen talking point for people coming up over the next few weeks. So we've talked about Ayton a lot. I think I don't want to spend a lot of time on him right now, just because we've kind of just said it all. We're both in the camp of, hey, interested if it's just the players, not really interested if it's role players and the 10th pick. So kind of
I'm even the more I look at these playoffs, the less I'm interested in a $30 million center that doesn't do some of the things that DeAndre Ayton doesn't do. So
what about Jared Allen?
That one
because
I'm into.
This is a guy that So Jared Allen's one of these guys that, man, for Cleveland, it like $20 million a year. If Dallas could somehow package the 10th pick with Tim Hardaway or another contract to Cleveland and saying, hey, can we get Jared Allen? Would you be down for that?
With the 10th pick for Jared Allen.
With Tim Hardaway.
I'm interested in it. Jared Allen's different because he makes $10 million less. We know for sure he's a good rim protector, whereas DeAndre Ayton, I'm not really 100% there on that one for him. $10 million less is a big difference. Like that's one more rotation player basically that you can have if Jared Allen's on your team than if DeAndre Ayton is because of the cap and all that. So I'm a little interested in that. I don't know about the 10th pick. I do know that I had a conversation recently with one of our producers at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, who's like one of our Tegna partners and that show over
just
there.
Go ahead and out him right now.
I had a conversation and he said Cleveland fans are ready to run Jared Allen out of town. Like they would, and he asked, would Dallas do a Tim Hardaway Jr. for Jared Allen swap? And I was like, would Dallas do it? I like clutched my chest and I was like, would Dallas do? I was like, I will literally he said, I would literally take Tim Hardaway Jr. to the airport myself, drive him all the way there, wish him the best of luck, take him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, walk him through it, and then take him down Euclid to the Cleveland, whatever sports complex they have there. Like I would do that one, of course, if it's going to be that. But if I'm adding the 10th pick into it, then I'm getting a little more, I'm hesitating a little bit more. But I think at the end of the day, I think I would do it. Because he's also still young enough too, right? Like It's not like you're going against some of these other people that have said, well, the Mavericks should get younger and all that. He's 24 or he just turned 25.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a question for you. Rank these three players that if you could get them for the 10th pick, obviously with the salary, attached to it. Jared Allen, Jonathan Kuminga, Patrick Williams. Those three, rank them in order of that you would.
Trading for the 10th pick?
Yeah.
It's Jared Allen 1, probably big gap. Kuminga, then Patrick Williams. I would not trade for Kuminga or Patrick Williams with the 10th pick. Like I'd have to get
really?
I'd have to get a couple other things. Yeah.
Oh, I would do it straight up for Pat Williams or Kuminga.
I don't think Patrick Williams' value is as high as you think it is.
Okay. Well, if we can buy low, then let's buy low.
Yeah, I don't think he's because there's some people in Chicago that love him and some don't, and I don't think this front office in Chicago picked him, so I don't know if they're as on board.
Well, if that's the case, JaVale McGee would be a great backup in Chicago. Okay, what about this one? As far as like trading out, what if if you're looking across the league and saying, all right, what could we attach the 10th pick to Bertans' contract?
Yeah.
And just say, can we get a solid player with that? Is it not enough to get DeAndre Hunter from Atlanta?
These are so hard.
Here's the reason I throw it out, just because their salary is crazy. They're probably going to be trying to, trade off Capella.
Yep.
John Collins, they've been trying to trade him since Lincoln got shot. And it's just, I don't know why I thought of that.
Took an honest Abe shot there. Good Lord. Like besmirching our president.
But and you know who they're going to be shopping, but what if, I don't even know why I thought about it. But like, what if they just want to hit reset on the DeAndre Hunter contract? That's like $20 million a year for the next 4 years.
Somehow that joke was still too soon.
Is that,
if it's Hunter, I got to get Capella as well. Like if it's going to be
you
10th,
wouldn't even do Bertans in 10 for DeAndre Hunter. I'm saying Dallas has to add stuff to this.
No, I don't think so.
Are you serious? I would call that in now.
You would do it right now. I think Hunter's making like $20 million a year. He's a burden to them right now with the contract and his level.
I will
play
take
right
your
now.
burdens. You know who else?
Should I go get the guitar? Should we get Pastor Isaac out here? Should I...
You know who else will take your burdens? All of them.
No, like it's gotta if it's for the 10th pick, like I gotta get a little bit more.
God, are you just like? Do you think Grady Dick's gonna be like Klay Thompson for Luka? Like,
I'm only asking for 2 role players. I'm not even asking for stars. Like I'm asking for like 2 probably underperforming role players for the Hawks in Hunter and then in Clint Capella, and be like, all right, let's bring this in. We'll give you Tim Hardaway. We'll give you Davis, and we'll go from there. You get younger, get the pick, and we get 2 role players and help you with, because we're helping them with salary too is the other thing. So like that's the value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not as sold on these. Like it's got to be an impact player.
dang. All right, let's talk.
I know.
All right, well, let me just transition to my move back trades then. Can we do this?
Wait, you have more that you think I'd be out on?
I don't think so, but like I'm like recalibrating now because your value for this 10th pick is like really high.
It might be too high, but it has to be for the Mavericks. Like you have to find the right thing. If they are going to trade out of it, then it's got to be for a good player.
You're ready for that Grady Dick Mavs jersey.
Everyone's obsessed with him now. It's just the name.
All right, let's talk about some trade back scenarios.
All right.
This one I know you're gonna hate, but I just gotta throw it out there.
Okay.
Orlando's sitting there 11.
Yeah. One spot.
And they say Jonathan Isaac and 11 for Tim Hardaway and 10.
No, yeah, I'm not in that. I know there are some people that want Jonathan Isaac, but you can't trust him. Like you just can't trust him to play health wise.
But okay, so what's
other
the
reasons why you probably can't trust him? But health wise, you probably can't trust him either.
What's the downside though? As far as like, what's the biggest risk in that? You're moving back one spot, and you're trading out. Here's the contract alone.
Flip it with Bertans, and I'm a little more for it. But like you're trading Tim Hardaway, that's an actual player that will play and a role player, and you're telling me you're bringing in Jonathan Isaac that would be great if he plays, but if he plays is a big if.
But here's the thing: because he didn't hit those markers in his contract, his next season is a non-guaranteed, so he can be an expiring contract.
So then you're just losing Tim for the price of dropping down one spot.
But the reward on it is one of the best defensive wings in the league.
True.
I would do that deal right now.
That's such a risk for a team that needs wins. Like we talked about this.
But you're moving back one spot.
No, but then you're taking on Jonathan Isaac. Is the risk that you're taking on.
I mean, I just think it's a risk I'm willing to do. And I think for Orlando, like for them, I think Tim would be awesome for them. They need more shooting. They need shooting on the perimeter. Yep. He's a vet. And I could see them doing that. Of saying he's due 17 million, Tim's due 17 million. You just move back one slot and you take the chance on Jonathan Isaac. And if it doesn't hit, he gets hurt again, then okay, and it's an expiring contract, not on your books anymore. You get off the second, that last year Tim's deal, and you just move back one spot. I'm doing that deal.
It's an interesting one. Let us know in the comment section if you would do that deal, if you're interested in that kind of risk. Because to me, it's like you're hemorrhaging you're hemorrhaging more guaranteed rotation players. Because I don't expect Jonathan Isaac to play just because of the history.
Okay. Do you want Tim to play? No.
I do want Tim to play.
No, I was just kidding.
Maybe not for the Mavericks next year, but I do want him to play.
Do you want to give me another one, or is it time for an ad break? My timer's messed up.
Coming up, Isaac's got more trade back. So trading back in the draft, Are there more options for the Mavericks?
Could Dorian come back? Coming up next.
That's always a good tease. All right, Isaac, hit me with your best shot. Some more trade back options for the Dallas Mavericks. We're having all kinds of internet problems, by the way. Like you and I are not in sync right now, but I think we're getting back to where it's better right now.
There's a delay that's been on
brutal.
My side that I've like talked and then I just like look at you.
I know. People are gonna think we have terrible chemistry. If this is your first time listening, we don't have terrible chemistry.
We're sorry. And my computer battery is struggling and I don't have a charger. It's at my job and
he's gonna be out in like 5 minutes and we're not gonna know why.
You call up Brooklyn. Brooklyn has picked 20 and 21.
Where
Back-to-back picks. Would you do Tim Hardaway in 10 for Dorian 20 and 21?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I would do. You get 2 shots at it because remember the list of players that I read earlier of players who have played in a playoff series. Herb Jones, 35th. Landry Shamet, 26th. Desmond Bane, 30th. Trey Murphy, 17th. Like, you can find these players. You just got to hit the right one. It doesn't even really matter where they are. If you just look at, like, it doesn't say, like, okay, only these, in this range will you get a good player. Like, you just got to find who it is. So if they get 2 shots at it, I think that there's a better chance that they can
Would
find
Lively fall to 20 at that point?
Yeah, then you take Lively, you get Dorian back, you do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm into that a little bit more. Or you take the 2 picks and maybe you go do something else, and then all of a sudden you have Dorian back and some other players.
You'd have to add a little bit of money to Dorian's contract and match Tim's. But what about the same deal but Joe Harris instead of Dorian?
No, I'm not into that one.
Okay, Joe Harris is an expiring contract, but
also Dorian can't have that much value to the Nets either, right? Like.
Probably not.
He's probably more valuable to the Mavericks than he is to them.
Speaking of the Nets, tell me if the Nets would do this. Nick Claxton, 20 and 21 for Josh Green and 10.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think
they got to pay him. He's due for his big
him.
Extension.
They do have to pay him. That we've talked about how they're in a weird situation where they're going to be in the tax paying Cam Johnson, but they've got to get rid of some players. I think Royce O'Neal, he's non-guaranteed. He's probably going to get moved. If I had to guess, they'd probably try to move Dorian because of his contract. Obviously, Joe Harris is the number one that they'll try to get off of. But yeah, they have to make some moves. And Nick Claxton to them is like, that's a franchise type player where you just he's a building block.
Yeah.
As much as we want him, we can't make them trade him.
Utah sitting at 16. Is Agbaji enough to move up to 10?
16 and several other spots. What are they at? They're at 9.
Yeah,
they're at 28 and 16.
Agbaji and 16 for pick 10. Is that enough for you?
Oh yeah, I would do that because you're not taking on too much salary there. You're getting another young player that has played. I think Utah.
He's a lottery pick last year.
Yeah, that I think Utah likes, and I don't think they'll trade. I don't think they would do this, but yeah, and then you get the shot at 16. The difference between 10 and 16 is not that much to me.
Yeah. Let's go back to Atlanta for a second. Atlanta has picked 15. I don't know how do you think they view John Collins' contract? Are they just trying to get off the money?
Remember we talked about bearing each other's burdens? I think they think it as a burden.
So you think that they would give up the 15th pick if somebody basically took Collins?
I don't know if they're there. I don't know if it's there yet.
Would they do Tim and Maxey for John Collins in 15?
That's not giving it up though. I mean that's two
true.
players. That's 2 players that fit better, and then getting off of John Collins. Yeah. I won't do that if I'm the Mavs. I don't think.
Really?
To give up.
So then you would have you trade Tim and Maxey for John Collins at 15. So then you'd have John Collins 10 and 15. At that point, you know who I'd call? I would call Washington and say, make it a 3-way deal and say, I'll give you 10 and 15 to move up to 8. Because for me, I think there's almost a drop off after 9. Because I think if you could get within the top 9, then you're guaranteed one of like the Cam Whitmores, Anthony Black, the Hendricks guy, the Thompson brothers. You're in that range. Once that 10 spot hits, you're looking at the Grady Dicks of the world, and which they're fine players, but anyway. So you just straight up, even if you didn't try to move up at that point, I think I would do that. Maxey and Tim for John Collins and 15, and then you're talking about getting 2, tries at it. You have 10 and 15 at that point,
and then you also have John Collins to try and figure out how to use him, and his contract that lasts some years. I don't want to take on contracts like that. If I'm the Mavs.
Another Hawks one, and then I got 2 more. Tim Bertans, Josh Green, and 10.
Oh boy, that's a lot
for DeAndre Hunter, Capella and 15.
That I think I would do, because Hunter and Capella start for you day one. I think.
Yeah. So you move back 5 slots. But you're basically trading, Josh Green and Tim for DeAndre Hunter and Capella.
How much better is DeAndre Hunter than Josh Green? Because how much are the Mavericks going to pay?
So.
He is, but are the Mavericks going to? The Mavericks aren't going to pay Josh Green $20 million a year either.
Very true.
Very true. The ideal is you can't lose more wings. You got to add more wings. So in the aggregate, you're losing 2 wings and adding 1. That becomes hard.
All right, my last 2, as my battery's at 7%. Miami's at 18.
Yeah.
Dallas is at 10. Miami's going.
Miami might make the finals.
Miami is also going on this run right now without Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
What if they say Tyler Hero in 18 for Tim Hardaway in 10?
Oh gosh. I think no.
I know. I don't really know.
I don't think
I'm not a big Tyler Hero guy, but
no, like I don't think so.
You move back 8 spots and swap out Tim for Hero.
Especially seeing how good they've been, like without him. Him and Jordan Poole are similar categories for me. Like got paid a little too early, a little too much. Like they're making the same as Brunson.
Remember when people thought that Brunson contract was too high?
Now the Brunson contract's a steal.
So here's my last one for you. Tim Bertans, Reggie, and 10 for Klay Thompson and pick 19.
Oh my gosh.
Don't know if Bob Myers is coming back. We talk about Draymond, talk about Kuminga a lot, but what if Bob doesn't come back and they say, all right, we're just going to totally hit reset. They tell Steph, we love you, but we got to have better pieces around you. It's time to say bye to Klay and Draymond. Klay has 1 year left on his deal, like $43 million.
I think it's a player option, isn't it?
Yeah, what if they call up Dallas and they say, hey, we'd rather split Klay's contract up into Tim and Reggie Bullock, Bertans, but we want that 10th pick too. Could you still get the 19th pick with Klay, or would it have to be all of those just for Klay?
Oh, man. What are they giving up? What are the Mavs giving up again?
Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway, Davis Bertans, and pick 10.
Yeah, I think the Mavs have to get that back because I don't know how much value does Klay Thompson have. Like he did not have the best playoffs. And
he's not the same player.
And making way too much for the player that he is right now.
But him next to Kyrie and Luka would be fun.
He'd get so many wide open shots.
Yeah.
He'd get more wide open shots, I think, than he does with the Warriors, which is kind of wild to think about. But like, think about how many wide open shots Dorian and Reggie got in the playoffs.
Yeah. He would
imagine that being Klay Thompson.
He's just not the same defender as he used to be,
no.
but still.
Would you start him? Would you start him next to Kyrie and Luka?
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to. Just by...
If I'm paying somebody $40 million,
I know.
There's no way on earth they're coming off the bench.
But then all of a sudden your backcourt is then Luka, Kyrie, and Klay.
Making $130 million.
Interesting. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. That's
I
the
joke,
whole salary
but I think
cap.
it really is.
It's 134 is the salary cap. So that's the whole entire thing. Interesting types of trades the Mavericks could possibly do and look at 10. Let us know. Am I overvaluing the pick? Is Isaac undervaluing the pick? Let us know in the comment section below. Appreciate each and every one of you. Again, subscribe to our subtext to keep track of us and to have communication with us one-on-one. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.